Hi, I'm Anatole. This is my review of Dark Season 1, Episode 10, titled Alpha and Omega. It received a score of 9.1 on IMDb, which is a really good score. This is the plot summary courtesy of Netflix. Peter gets a shock. Jonas learns the truth about his family, but there are more surprises still to come. Helga makes a sacrifice. Actually, that is a plot summary courtesy of IMDb user Ahmedzkozan. And so this is the conclusion of season 1, and just as I assumed, and I'm sure anyone watching assumed, the plot was not resolved at the end of the episode. I think most viewers, like 99%, coming into this episode figured things were not going to be wrapped up. But we did have some mysteries solved and some new mysteries opened up for us. The biggest one was about the stranger, who was Jonas, the future version of Jonas, and just what his intentions were. And it looked like, in a sort of paradox, future Jonas came back in order to prompt past Jonas, or no, I should say present Jonas, it gets confusing, time travel, in order to prompt present Jonas into the room that was created by Helga and the stranger, which was the primitive form of time travel.
First time machine's a bunker with 4 walls, but it still doesn't quite work. Let me out. I can't. It's the only way for things to become normal again.
Successful form that didn't work because future Jonas's plan, which he knew would be successful since present Jonas was able to utilize the fruit of future Jonas's efforts, and that was to steal, the future Jonas was stealing the cesium in order to create a wormhole which would then send present Jonas into the future, from which future Jonas would, I'm not sure exactly how that tied into the plans, but somehow sending present Jonas into the future is part of the plan that future Jonas needed to utilize. Now, why, knowing that future Jonas would be sacrificing his own life?
Maybe this time I'll outwit my past.
Imagine it's because future Jonas assumed that once he sacrificed his life, that wormhole would set time correctly, but I'm not sure why he believed that, since it required his efforts in order for present Jonas to grow up into future Jonas, which would then create the wormhole, which would send a paradox. So that was revealed, and then we got to see the efforts of Claudia, I believe. So I have a new computer up. I'm testing it out right now. On my old computer, I had the family tree, the town tree of the 4 different families. And so whenever I had a question about who the characters were, I could consult that while filming. So I don't have that. Instead, I am going to try to do it using my handy iPhone, but it's not laid out as handily, as easily as the other picture was. So it's going to mean I'm stumbling a little bit. I believe Claudia is the one who is in charge of the power plant, and the future Claudia came back to the present knowing that Jonas was trying to create a wormhole, and knowing that Helga would send
Those promises he makes to you are lies. You must think I'm someone else. You must think I'm someone else. I've said that before.
knowing that Claudia, knowing that Helga and Noah would send Nielsen. I can't remember. It's not.
There's so much here I need to explain. But first we must take Mads to the place where he needs to be found.
Knowing they would send Mads Nielsen into the future where the body would be found by Peter Doppler. Now, why it was important for Claudia to instruct Peter to take the body of Mads to the location where it had to be found by the police. I'm not sure why Claudia thought that was necessary. But then my guess that there were three in my last review, my review for episode 9. My guess that there were three forces at work was correct. But what I didn't know was that Noah seems to have the trump card, because he has the journal that Claudia is referring to, but he has pages that Claudia is missing. So he seems to be one aware of everyone, and that would seemingly put him into the catbird's seat, because he has the position of knowing everything that's going to unfold. But I assume that's not going to be accurate, that there will be something that undoes his scheming. And I think that Jonas's efforts, because we see him in the future time, his efforts to correct the time stream is not finished. That even though we saw him sacrifice himself in that wormhole at the end of episode 10, the fact that we're still following him, I believe, means that there's a chance he will undo that event in some way in the future.
Welcome to the future.
And then something that was pointed out by Mild Fuzz, by their review, the Mild Fuzz network, that we have been up to this point operating in three different time areas, time streams, 1953, 1986, and 2019. But because now we've jumped into the future, what may have happened and so at that point, present was 1986, past was 1953, and so from that advantage, future was 2019. But because we have seen Jonas now jump to the future, there may have been an effect on a time stream. And by switching to 3, because this number 3 has always been significant, and we see that there are the 3 corners of the triangle that were part of the Philosopher's Stone, and it's on the insignia on the doorway when they go into the time travel, and there are the 3 branches. I think we can guess now that because we have the 33 plus 2019. I can't do the math in my head right now. It's what, 2052 or something, but that may now be the future. 2019 is the present, and 1986 becomes the past. So there may have been an effect that has changed the time stream. I imagine that's what we'll see in season 2.
It's as if one could look at the beginning and end of something at the same time.
And so just where is everyone? We have seen a number of characters that seem to be secondary become very important, such as Jonas and Noah. And then there have been characters that we see in the background that don't seem to be important at all, such as Magnus and the transvestite that Peter was involved with. So I think now, because we have this third time stream open up, we will get that the third cast, the future cast, will become important, and their actions will bring secondary characters to the fore that haven't been already. So what happens to because now at the end of this episode, the science fiction element is very strong. So what happens to that investigation element where I believe it's Charlotte finds out that Ulrich has been transported into the past of 1953. What happens with that now that if this theory that 2019 it becomes the present and 1986 becomes the future, does that leave Ulrich completely stranded in the past? And then we saw that Ulrich had a hit placed out on him in the timeline of 2019. But if Ulrich's really trapped in the past, this hit that's been placed on him seems to be completely pointless. I think that points out that Ulrich will somehow either the hit will be placed on aged Ulrich, which doesn't make sense, or Ulrich will be transported from 1953 into 2019, where the hit's placed on him.
Know what we do with child murderers?
Don't be a stupid asshole. Your mind's as small as everyone else's in this shit town.
That's Chekhov's law. If you see a gun in Act 1, then the gun is going to go off by Act 3. The hit that was placed on him by Hannah, if I'm not mistaken, that plot line will have to come to some sort of conclusion. So that's one guess I'm making, that Ulrich will not be trapped in the time period of 1953. So that's kind of my long rambling thoughts on episode 10. So now let me give my season summary, because we've reached the end of the season. At the end of the first episode, I had said that the series felt like three different things: Stranger Things, Twin Peaks, and the X-Files. And at the end of season 1, I can say that the Twin Peaks, all those things have gone by the wayside, that it has become its own show. It doesn't feel like any of those things, which is really good. I think it's okay for a creator to take something as a model, but you don't want to just copy that model. You want to in some way transcend that model. And so when we get to the end of the season, the characters have developed enough, the different genre threads have developed enough that it feels like its own beast, which is really good. And I had said at one point that the plot took precedent over character drama, but there were points in the season where the creators gave the actors and the characters those nice moments where we see them reacting to something.
How long have you known?
I've always known since way back.
So I really like the way that it blends the genres and it has plot development and character moments. I'm quite happy. The only worry I have is that there's so much mystery and so many balls in the air. We've seen in the past where shows have a great mystery and they're able to dangle that mystery in front of the viewer, but when it comes time to resolving it, they're unable to do it. So even though I'm enjoying it, there's that caveat. This show needs to stick the landing. It's created enough of this mystery that it needs to resolve it in a way that's satisfying, and it needs to get to the end. It doesn't, because we've seen, like with the OA, where the creators have said they've plotted everything out. It was a 5-season arc, and then the show got canceled after 2, leaving the viewers unsatisfied. So it's not enough. It's not enough. It needs to have not only create the mystery and solve it. It needs to have support from the producer, the show producer, the network funding it. So there are many intangibles, many variables to judging if a show is successful, and one of which is, can it tell the story to completion, or is it going to be stopped involuntarily before it does so? And all those things affect viewer enjoyment of a series. So those are my thoughts at the end of Dark Season 1 and my thoughts of Episode 10 all combined. Please let me know what your thoughts were at the end of Season 1. Give me a like if you like my commentary, and subscribe for more of my content. That's all for now. Take care and be well. Goodbye.